Right now in New Orleans, a potential landmark case that could impact every child in the country. A federal appeals court is rehearing a case against two Texas school principals who are accused of violating elementary school students' rights. The reason? They confiscated the kids' religious-themed candy cane pens. The question is, should there be a set age for First Amendment free speech rights? Joining us now, family law attorney Jennifer Brandt and former prosecutor Tad Nelson. Tad, the basics of this case, and there are actually several of them that, as I understand it, are going to be sort of united in this particular argument in the appeals court. But the basics is that these elementary school children were handing out candy canes at school, for instance, or pencils that said Jesus is the reason for the season, that kind of thing on them. The principals took them away and said, hey, this is a public school. You can't be exhorting religion here. Do I have that right?
Absolutely. And the issue here is the Constitution, like you said, it applies to everybody. I've read it hundreds of times. Not once have I ever seen a disclaimer about age or where you are in life or anything. It applies to everybody right down the line.
So the argument, I guess, and the government attorneys are trying to enforce this, saying that young students, Jennifer, do not have free speech rights because they are, what, too young? They're children?
I don't think that's exactly what they're saying. They do have First Amendment rights, but those rights can be restricted in some respect for the school, by the school. Because, for example, while school children can read their Bibles in school or pray in school, when they then hand out those Bibles to their classmates or try to coerce other people that they should believe what these children are believing, then the school can step in and prohibit that type of behavior. And I think that's exactly what you have here. They did not want those candy canes distributed class-wide because it's actually coercive. They're proselytizing at that point.
Well, Tad,
and it goes beyond exercising their own First Amendment freedoms.
Tad, especially in a place like Texas, that the candy canes and the message on them probably wouldn't be too controversial, but you can see a situation where a young kid might wear a T-shirt to school that said something very offensive on it.
And you made a good point. Coming from Texas, I think some of the arguments made on this case are somewhat disingenuous, but that's for another day. But, you know, we're right on the deal. We do have to, whenever you're going to take the Constitution, you've got to restrict it as little as possible. And in this case, we've had a standard since 1969. We need to limit people's speech only when it materially and substantially disrupts the learning environment. And this was a Christmas party where you could hand out any gift you want. If you're going to hand out a candy cane that says, hey, Jesus, that's the reason for the season, if the kid doesn't like it, throw it in the trash.
Yeah, but how could you say that that would not...
You don't have to preach God. Well,
but how could you say that that's not disruptive? If you're a child who doesn't believe and you receive that candy cane, that may be offensive to you. So, you know, the school has a duty to make sure that...
we're going to throw it in the trash.
But, you know,
well, it doesn't matter. But, I mean, the school has a duty to make sure that education is the main message and not religious beliefs. Well, and if they're in an environment where other children are trying to preach their religious beliefs or push their religious beliefs on children that may not believe the same thing, then the school district does have a duty to step in and stop that type of behavior.
Jennifer, what about the free exchange of ideas here, though?
This is more than free exchange of ideas because you're handing out this pencil or this candy cane to each child in the class. It's not about, hey, what do you believe in or what do you believe in? It's about, here, take this. This is what I believe in, and I'm putting it on you.
Tad, your argument in 10 seconds, please.
And John, what an opportunity for the teacher to use this situation and use it as a learning experience. These kids go to public education to get ready for the real world. They need to learn tolerance. They need to learn there's differences between kids. And they need to learn that no matter what you believe, everybody's beliefs are valid. And that's what the Constitution...
But they don't have to have those beliefs forced on them, do they? That's the issue.
We'll let you know what the Court of Appeals in New Orleans decides. Jennifer Brandt, Tad Nelson, thank you both.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, the White House